Awesome. Okay, we are all good to go. Thank you everyone for being here. It's a 4 o'clock, and if you've had the Wednesday I've had, it's been quite the day. So we are very excited to be here. Thank you, everyone. Let's get this situated. There we go. Okay. I'm here today. My name is Anand Valaria. I'm the SIP Operations Coordinator. I'm joined by my colleague, Lindsay Lauber. She's the Assistant Director for CREST.
Hi,
Yes.
everyone. Yeah.
And she'll be our chat support today. So please, if you have any questions, feel free, either ask us directly or message it to everyone in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. So
Yeah.
quick house.
I was going to say, if we don't answer it right on the spot, we'll save it to the end and make sure that we get back to it. So.
Yes. Quick housekeeping. This call is being recorded. Please mute your microphone. We did our introductions. There will be time for questions at the end, but let's keep it easygoing. If you have a question, just ask us. This session will cover what is the SIP program, how do the research projects work, what is the timeline, what to expect for 2023, and then the final Q&A session. So let's get underway. This is the Science Internship Program. Again, you might be wondering where Raja is. Raja is in Israel, and it is 2 a.m. And Raja is an astronomer. He stays up most nights. But you know, when you're traveling, you do get tired because you're not in your regular time zone. So he said he would be here, but we're actually very happy that he's sleeping and he's resting. He will be back with us on Friday, and he should be at the next info session. We do have this is our fourth info and Q&A session that we've had. He was there with us for the first two. The first session, we were still very early. Things were coming together. We didn't have as much information, but Raja did go into depth about some of the details. So maybe check out those parts to hear him speak. And the second info session, we had a really good Q&A session at the end. So if you have some questions that we don't answer today, that might be a good place to check out. Moving forward. So what is SIP? SIP is a 10-week research internship program for high school students, predominantly in STEM fields. But since 2021, we've expanded to cover STEAM, and we've done better each and every year in expanding subjects outside of strictly STEM. High school students will work with UCSC PhD students, professors, and post-PhD researchers, and they provide one-on-one mentoring of these high school interns. High school interns are paired in groups with a minimum of 3 other interns, a group of 3, and they can go up to 4 or 5. We're actually going to have a very fun art project that's going to have 10 students this year. So minimum of 3, and it can be up to 10. So it's great one-on-one small group mentoring with someone that's really talented and technical. The research projects are real. That is what SIP is really about. Doing projects that are on the cutting edge of research, having students be involved, learn up front and close, actually have impact. If the project does well, if the research does get published, and when it does, potentially their names can be on that research, can be included. It doesn't end this year. If they come back next year and they're still working on that research, there are more opportunities to keep working on it. Students are inserted into existing research projects that are currently happening. We also have opportunities for wider exposure in topics in current research, academic enrichment, college preparation. These are embedded into the program during the day. We have a lot of extracurricular activities. We're going to have field trips. Fun stuff. So categories of STEM activities. Again, access, enrichment, exposure, building skills through this research. We have students, everyone's at a different level, right? Young freshmen, sophomore, juniors, rising seniors. Controlled, pre-scripted projects, having everything, the mentors, they're working on their research, right? But to put it in a 10-week format for people that, if they don't come in with any skills that are particular to that subject, will learn them along the way and be able to help in a meaningful way. That's the goal of the project. And then again, ultimately, these are open-ended research projects. Small groups of students, that's fun. The essence of SIP. So really focusing and honing in on critical thinking in the context of closely mentored, open-ended real-world research projects. We should put that on a shirt, honestly. If we had merch because the amount of times I've said that. But yes, really having the essence of critical thinking, giving students the opportunity to be a part of these projects. You don't have to be a grad school student. You don't have to be a PhD. You don't have to be a postdoc. You can do it in high school. And this is what SIP brings to you. So let's highlight the 14 years of SIP. We are very excited to be going into our 15th year. Or 1 year away from driving. We'll be getting our permits this year. So very excited. But SIP started off with 3 students. Back in 2009, Raja's daughter was in school and she went to Castellea in the Bay Area. And one of the academic advisors knew who Raja was. And during the summer, they're always focusing on what students will do. So just keeping them busy, continuing to learn, continuing to try new things. And this academic advisor put 1 and 1 and 1 to get to 3 together, right? Raja's daughter, along with 2 friends, they just accompanied Raja because he was still working. Raja doesn't have a summer break as much as he would like to, but they came with him to UC Santa Cruz, and they were just in the room, and they learned, and they would help out, and that blossomed into something that was tangible, and they repeated it. So we had 15 students in 2010. We got a couple of other faculty and PhDs and postdocs involved. And then just through the years, scaling that. The last in-person year, we had 180 students participate in person at UC Santa Cruz. I joined in 2020, February 2020, under the pretense that we would be in person, but March changed everything. But through that change, we were able to open the program up to everybody, having it available online. You don't have to be in person in Santa Cruz. You don't have to be in the Bay. You potentially don't have to be in driving distance or be able to go home on the weekends. Or even if you don't want to be away from home, these are young children, right? Do you really want to be away from home for 10 weeks? All your teenagers, if you're a parent on this call, is going to say yes, but deep down we know. But essentially, from 180 to 225 participants, we had a large growth internationally, and then continuing that growth in 2021, we got up to 313. 2022, we made the decision to keep it a remote program. It was up until the last moment, but just due to Omicron and still lingering effects. But we are very excited to announce that we're back in person this year, yet keeping a hybrid state on things. We've learned through the pandemic that you don't have to be in person. If you want to, you can participate remotely. Yes, there are additional struggles that might come by that and not being there in person, but it is possible. And 2023, the entire theme is flexibility. If you want to participate, if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to think critically, we would love to have you. Our goal for 2023 is to have 400 students. And let's hope that happens. Gender and diversity. So we have basically 40 to 60, 30, 60, 3 to 1, a ratio between females and males. I always mess that up. Roughly a third of all SIP interns have overcome serious societal obstacles, coming from backgrounds where they're underrepresented, first-generation college aspirants, and from low-income households. We will get to this, but we do have scholarships available, and we do our best to not have finances impede your participation in SIP. Overall stats over the 14 years of SIP, we've had a total of 365 different high schools, students from these different high schools from all around the world, which when you look back at it, it's very, very, it's something that we're very proud of. A total of 1,831 high school students have participated, and they come from 1,500, technically 1,537 students have been a part of SIP, and we've had 294 repeat. So they've done SIP more than 1 year. So they've been counted twice. This is a list of the 365 schools. If you really not zoom in because it's a digital, but if you squint, you might be able to see a school that you recognize, or maybe potentially your school as well. The schools in the black font, they are schools in California. The schools in the blue font are schools in the United States. Schools that are in red are international schools. So let's get into what the research projects look like. Wow, that's a lovely photo of a ball pit. Wow. So each project consists of 1 to 2 mentors, either a primary mentor or a secondary mentor. These are PhD students, post-PhD researchers, and professors. A group consists of 3 or more high school interns, and students must be 14 of age, 14 years of age or older, right? The cutoff of this date is essentially when the program begins, so June 12th. If you are not 14 by then you can't participate in SIP, but that is so sad. But yes, it's halfway through the year. This shouldn't be a problem, but if it's a problem, please talk to us. This is just due to UC policy, but essentially 14 years of age at UC Santa Cruz, rising freshmen can take part. So if you're in 8th grade and you graduate and you meet the age cutoff, then please apply to SIP. But rising freshmen, rising sophomore, rising juniors, and rising seniors. SIP spans 21 different subject areas at UC Santa Cruz. So truly a STEAM program. There's something for everybody, going from all the way from anthropology to sociology. This is an example of what you'll find when looking at a research project. These are all on the website. We have finally been able to get our 2023 research project page up. We have 24 projects listed, but a great proxy for that would be to look through the 2022 projects list and even the 2021 projects list. We have a lot of mentors repeat, so you can see how their research has evolved through the years. If you know a mentor that you've had previously or you've heard good things about and you would like to be in their project, please look for that. Even if you don't, read through the description, see if you like the subject, what the research is. If you have preferences, that'd be a good thing to talk about. But essentially, you are applying to the subject area. So this is a computer science and computer engineering project. You'll see the project code, CSC01, the title, GANs, Generative Adversarial Networks. The primary mentor here was Syed Kargar. The faculty advisor was Professor Faisal Nawab. This was in 2021, so this was fully remote and online. And there were 4 interns that were able to participate in this project. You see a project description, what the research they're working on, and then you see the tasks, what the SIP interns will learn, the concepts. Sometimes they get into daily tasks, breaking it down, what they'll do throughout the day, but just look out for that. Here are required skills for interns to think about and maybe have prior to acceptance. Computer programming preferred. Because we cater to all years of high school, kids are coming in with different experiences, right? So it's not absolutely necessary to have 1 or 2 or 3 coding languages. If you are still learning, if you're in the process, then we will help you learn and we'll continue to go through that journey with you and make sure the skills that you have in developing those skills. And each project is different. Some projects are more advanced, so look out for that. And some projects are easier for everyone to take part in. And then skills interns will acquire in home. This is the program week number and activity availability. So again, this is fully remote, so the mentor was available for all 8 weeks of active research. We'll have another example. This is an astronomy and astrophysics sample project. This was project code AST01. The title was What Happens Around Supermassive Black Holes. The primary mentor was Dr. Martin Gaskell. He's one of our favorites here at SIP. He's been a mentor for 10 years. This will be his 10th year. So we are very excited. Everyone loves him. He has great stories. He has a lovely home in the mountains. And whenever he's on Zoom, he doesn't use a virtual background. He's just in his backyard. And sometimes you see chickens running around. And when it's like a colder day, you'll see mist in the clouds. And then when it's a nice day, you'll see the sun. So again, it is a hybrid program. You can participate from anywhere. This is the location. 2021 was fully remote. Number of interns were 3. This was the project description. The tasks, analyzing multi-wavelength special observations of relatively nearby, actively accreting supermassive black holes. If you are interested in that, please say that 10 times. And if you're successful, then please apply. I'm just kidding. The required skills, again, computer programming, having some knowledge or interest, skills that they will acquire and continue to hone throughout the 10 weeks, computer programming, statistical data analysis. There's a URL included, so you can find out more about Dr. Gasco and his research, and then his availability. So, program details about SIP 2023. Again, will be hybrid flexibility. The ball is in your court. Students may participate 100% in person, 100% online, or some combination of the two. If you live nearby, if you live in the Bay Area, you have the option. You can do a couple weeks online, a couple weeks in person. You could do it week by week. You could do 5 days in the dorms, 7 days in the dorms. You can drive up to campus, keep it on a daily basis. So more to come on that. Different interns have different learning styles and schedules, and we want to make sure that everyone can engage fully with our program. Interns will have access to meetings, instructional workshops, and social events. We understand that in-person participation may not be feasible for all interns, but we're committed to ensuring that online SIP experience is engaging and enriching. So what the day looks like on a day-to-day basis, it's a Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 program. Roughly 6 hours per day. They'll have a balance between meetings, check-ins, doing research, time with their mentor, time when their mentor is doing something and they're working either by themselves or with their other interns in the group. And there are also opportunities where extracurricular activities, group events, field trips, speakers come in, activity nights. It's going to be a fun day, but it's like a solid school day or a day of work in the summertime, Monday through Friday, 6 hours a day. It is strongly encouraged that the interns do not miss the first 2 weeks, the vital first 2 weeks of the active research segment of the program. So these 2 weeks are going to be delivered fully virtually. There are a lot of preparatory tasks and events that go on during these 2 weeks. Interns will meet their mentors, get to know one another. There are trainings. We will have a Python course 1 week, and then just mentors on an individual basis will either assign stuff to get ahead on, readings to get prepared. The first 2 weeks are virtual, and then active research starts from week 3 on. And then more about extracurricular offerings. There's going to be a fun slide with images next, but the extracurricular offerings are very fun. Program costs. Let's talk about finances real quick. The $60 application fee, this is non-refundable. You will first, when you go onto the website, click apply, and then you click on the apply here button, fill out the application. There are 4 parts to it. And then after, you will submit, you will log into the payment portal. This is the IRIS payment portal. You may use the same. So there are 2 different systems, so they don't talk to each other, but you have the option to, we recommend that you continue to use the same email and password just to log into both. And it makes it easier on the back end for us. Okay. I'm going to take a quick 30-second break because we have a lovely student that's coming to my door and I will hand them something. So I'll be right back. Lindsay, if you'd like to answer any questions, please, now's the time. That video.
All right, I will do my best to answer questions. Court, I see your question about how to apply to the programs to be in multiple astronomy projects, possibly that are being taught in different modalities. Hopefully when Anand returns, when we start talking about the application process, we can dig into that question. That's a good one.
Yes, yes. We'll get to that. That's the good stuff. You got to save it till the middle, right? Otherwise, if we answer all the questions, then you guys are just going to leave and go on about your day. I'm just kidding. But yes, very important. Okay, so then you'll log into your IRIS, pay the $60 deposit application fee. This is the first step. Intern applications are open from March 1st, today. to March 31st. We will send out the first round of acceptances on April 28th. Once you receive an acceptance, then the ball is in your court. You will either accept or decline. When accepting, you pay the $400 deposit to hold the spot. And then you have additional time, maybe a week or two, and then you have time to pay the remainder of the academic program fee. This would be $3,600. Yes, easy. If we plan to ask for a scholarship, so if you are applying for a scholarship and everyone has the opportunity to apply for a scholarship in the application, then all these fees and housing fees will be covered. Financial assistance, full and partial need-based scholarships are available. Wait, that's it? Oh, no. Okay. So there's more language in the application, also on the website. So please read about it. Everyone, again, will fill out the application. And if you have any questions, please email us and we're happy to assist. Lindsay, do you have a question or is that a high five?
It's both.
Okay.
No, there is a question in the chat that relates to this a little bit, so I wanted to highlight
Yes.
it. If we plan to apply for a scholarship, is the deposit required?
If you plan to apply for a scholarship, reach out and then we'll work with you on getting a special code for the application fee, so you don't have to pay the initial $60. But by the time the $400 and $3,600 fees are due, we'll have a better understanding of whether you apply, whether you qualify. That is the word. Whether you qualify for a scholarship. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about the SIP application. 4 parts. It is open today. Woohoo! Within 3 hours, we already had 100 applicants. So we are very excited. Yes. The first part is personal information, name, email, parents' names, address, that type of stuff. Part 2, teacher recommendations, 1 recommendation. That is all we require. And then you also attach your unofficial transcript or your latest grade report. The part 3, indicate your availability of which of the 8 weeks you are available. So of 8 weeks of active research, the first 2 weeks, fully remote, everyone, please attend. Out of the 8 active weeks of research, we require 6 out of 8 weeks of participation because we understand it's the summertime. The kids are off. It's the best time to go for a family vacation. And everyone is, these are students, right? This is not a full-time job. You don't have to come every single day. I hope everyone has a nice vacation policy. But if we are available all 8 weeks, do we get to work all 8 weeks? Yes, we highly recommend. You don't only have to do 6 weeks. Please, 6 is the minimum. We highly suggest that you take part in all 8 weeks, all 10 weeks. Again, then, so the fun part in the third part of the essay, the third part of the application is where you pick your top 2 subject areas where you want to apply. So if you notice, only 24 of our research projects are up and they come in on a rolling basis. The mentor application, our mentors, these PhD students, everyone is doing the research in real time. Research changes. What they're working on now might not be what they're working on or might have evolved. So they are coming in on a rolling basis. Every week, we will continue to post new projects. So please check out the 2023 projects for more information. Keep an eye out. There's always something new. Check out the SIP website for the most up-to-date information. If there are any changes, if there are any updates, if there's anything that's new, that's where you'll find it. But essentially, when applying, you apply to the subject. So you might see a project that's already posted that you might love or you might like. But again, if there's something that comes in afterwards, we would match that project to your essays and what you're looking for. So that's the way interns are placed. So again, if you want to do a project in astronomy, then click astronomy. If you want to do a project in anthropology, then click anthropology. We require 2. You write essays for 2. These are short essays, 250 words. You can pick a third one this is not your backup, your backup's backup, but there's no essay required for that. And there is a back and forth, right? If we only have a limited number due to this year's slate of mentors, if we have less computer engineering projects and a lot of people are always interested in computer engineering, then your second subject, if electrical engineering, then we might be able to place you. And electrical engineering is fully full, then you're third. And also there are rounds. So if you do not get accepted and you're waitlisted, there might be another project in your second subject that we might be able to place you in. So it just adds for flexibility. And we also get to know you better. And then the second part of the writing is one short essay. This is up to 500 words. And this is where the student talks about what they would like to get out of the science internship program for 2023. Nice. And then part 4, certification. Make sure everything is up to date, true, and you submit your application. And then you get to pay. So the 2023 program schedule. We have finally arrived, March 1st. Can we just take a second? Everyone, let's take a deep breath. It's already March. Doesn't it feel like 2023 just started? I mean, if you live in the Bay Area, I live in the Bay Area. I was in Santa Cruz yesterday and it was raining and there is snow in the mountains, which is great, but it's a very nice day. Hopefully spring comes soon and we're excited for the summer. But again, application is now live. It will close on March 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Our first round of admission offers will be sent out on April 28th. You have until May 7th to either accept and pay your deposit or decline. May 14th, this is the deadline for full payment and to submit your registration packet, which once accepted, that's just a process that you go to. June 12th to June 23rd. The program starts on June 12th. These are the first 2 weeks, they're fully remote. Sunday, June 25th, this is program kickoff. This is a Sunday. Move-in will likely happen the day before. If not, it will happen on Sunday, but keep June 24th, June 25th on your calendar. Keep that in mind. The academic research officially starts on June 26th. That is a Monday and runs for 8 weeks until August 18th. And then August 19th, that is SIP presentation day, which is very, very exciting. That's our Super Bowl. And attending presentation day is expected even if the interns can't attend the final weeks of SIP due to an early school start. So a common question that we've had this year is schools are starting a little bit earlier. If they start in early August, the first or second week, SIP doesn't end till August 19th. So if that is a problem, just make sure that's known to your mentor, to us, the program, when you apply, before you start. You necessarily do not have to be here in person, right? So you can do that part remotely. And when we know that your school starts on August 10th, we can taper off. We can focus more on research and get things done quicker. So the remainder of the program is less work intensive. And also a common thing, week 10, that last week of SIP before the presentation day is practice presentation week. So essentially research has been wrapped up by then and interns have the entire week to work on creating their presentation, practicing multiple times, working with their mentors, working with their interns, all to get ready for Saturday's big event. So essentially that's an easier week that can be scheduled to be done after school hours. And if the same thing applies to the week before, week 8 or week 7, just let your mentor know and we'll do our best to accommodate different schedules. Cool. So getting to SIP, we have multiple options. We'll have 2 different busing routes. The North Silicon Valley Shuttle. This will come through the Mountain View Caltrain station and Saratoga High School. Those are the 2 pickup spots, 2 options. This is going to be offered every single day throughout the summer. Or if you want to do 5 days in the dorms instead of a 7-day in the dorms all the time, you can the students can come onto UC Santa Cruz campus Monday mornings, be there living in the dorms for 5 days and come back home on Friday afternoons. The South Salinas Watsonville shuttle, this is coming from Gonzales, another stop in Salinas, and Watsonville, with those areas. This is a once a week shuttle, Monday mornings, and then returning students on Friday afternoons. You can come either by car, personal car, or carpool. Interns are not allowed to drive during 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please schedule yourself to get there ahead of time. We want you to be doing research at 9 a.m., working with your fellow interns and your mentors. So just plan for that. It's great experience builder for life. You got to get to work on time or early. And then public bus. This is a great resource for Santa Cruz residents. So weekly shuttle housing sign-up deadline. This is you want to get this done the week prior, just enough so we have enough time to process everything, make sure paperwork gets done. This is an evolving situation just because it's our first year back in the dorms, but we're very excited to be offering the flexibility and dorms back for 2023. So let's talk about the North Shuttle. Essentially 7:30 and 8 a.m. we will get more information. We'll have a more concrete schedule, but early morning pickup times 7:30 and 8, and then get home by 5:30. Week by week basis. So if you're going to be in person for a couple weeks, you can sign up for those weeks. You can sign up 1 week in advance, but the costs, it was $200 a week in 2019. That's about the price that'll be this year. And the once a week, Monday morning and Friday afternoon housing shuttle was $65. And all transportation costs are waived for students on need-based scholarships. Those are the addresses of the 2 spots. This is the South Shuttle from 3 South County locations in the morning and afternoon. Pickup times 7:30 a.m., 7:50, and 8:15, and then drop-off times 5 o'clock, 5:20, and 5:50. This is a once a week shuttle. Daily life, SIP dorm housing. So the best part about SIP is high school students get to experience what it's like to be on campus as a high school student. So you have the whole move-in day. Also, it can be a smaller move-in day if you're only going to be there for a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. But again, you get to experience what it's like to live on a college dorm, to go to the dining hall, to just have access to everything Santa Cruz has to offer. Great question. If you go home for the weekend, do you need to vacate your dorm room and move into a new room on Monday? Great question. Essentially, if you are 5 days in the dorms and you're going to come back, then you wouldn't need to. We have enough space for everybody. If you are going to be there, let's say week 1, and then you're not going to be there for 3 weeks and you come back on week 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, math was correct. Then we might have a different setup just because someone else that might be there on week 2 would be able to use the space better. This is an evolving situation, but and again, this is our first year of doing this. We want to have as much flexibility as possible, but we'll be learning in real time. We'll see what works, we'll see what doesn't work. But to answer your question, if they're just going home for the weekends, they're 5 days on campus, back home on the weekends, coming back, then they would have the same room. Okay, cost of housing and meals. Very good question, by the way. It's $600 a week through the weekday housing plan. That's 5 days a week. And then $875 a week. This is for full 7 days, all the time on campus. It's great to use the guidance from the university on what they recommend. This is what all students see when going to UC Santa Cruz. This is what I had. They have the same image when I went to school, and I went to UC Santa Cruz in 2017. But essentially, what's in a room? You get an extra long twin bed and mattress, a desk, chair, bookshelf, clothing storage, 1 to 2 trash and recycling cans. What they don't say is there's a mirror in there. There's a nice body long mirror on your door so you can see yourself and make sure you are looking good and spiffy. Okay, what to bring? You want to bring bedding for that. Laundry items, hangers, emergency kit, alarm, clocks, bath, hand towels, decorations. Yeah, lights. It's always fascinating because from the outside you can just see glowing rooms and then dark rooms. Desk lamp. You don't necessarily need that, but a desk lamp might help. All desks have a built-in desk lamp. Earplugs, headphones, lock. Yeah, if you have a bike. You don't need plates, cups, silverware. The dorms will provide that. The dining halls will provide that. Power strip. You may bring that if you have a lot of devices. We have a lot of devices. Rain gear, umbrella. Hopefully it doesn't rain in the summer, but you never know. And a reusable water bottle. That might be your best friend. Staff in the dorm 7 days a week. Yes, we have RAs and a full-time adult supervisor that is coordinating the RAs and is the adult presence in the dorms. Will students do research only from Monday through Friday, or will they do research on the weekends as well? Again, it's a summer program, 9 to 4 dedicated hours, and then let the kids be kids. Extracurricular activities, fun field trips that might happen on a weekend, just because if there are students on the weekends, we'll have specific plans for them. Again, not everybody will be able to take part, but if we do have a certain cohort, maybe 30%, 40%, we would want to make sure they have weekend activities as well. But to answer your question, no research will be conducted. Good question. If the difference between the $600 and $875 plans, between $600 for 5 days, $875 for full 7 days in the dorms, are about meals, or you're just not allowed to stay in the dorms. So essentially, if you are staying in the dorms on the weekends, it's the price for the 2 extra days and the price for 3 meals. That's the difference. Hope that answers your question. Okay. So this year we're back in person. We'll be at the lovely College 9 and formerly College 10. It has now been renamed the John R. Lewis College after John Lewis. But this is a great part of campus. This is a lot of people's favorite parts of campus. The engineering buildings are very close by. There's a great, huge, the biggest dining hall is centrally located between these two colleges. So great location. And a bus stop. Good bus stops everywhere too. Recreational activities for interns. So these are great pictures from years past when we were back in person, when we were fully in person. But this is a fun trip to Google. You can see a young Raja right here. This is our annual beach trip. We have 2 to 3 beach trips per year. So we all love time on the beach. And this was a fun trip to the observatory, the Lake Observatory that SIP interns went to in the past. Daily life, the dining hall. So again, self-serve, kids have the option. There are a lot of different types of cuisines, different serving stations, plenty of space. This is actually the 910 dining hall. So great floor to ceiling windows if people appreciate those. I appreciate those. And then just a wide variety of cuisine. And you do have greens there. So all the parents, greens, we like that. These are examples of the menus, what they'll have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Essentially, a little bit of everything is available. You have waffles, eggs, French waffles. Wow. Really going over the top. Potatoes, something for everybody. Options for different types of diets. Vegan, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. A great variety of cuisines and meals as well, so you're not tired, and there's always something new, so you're not eating the same thing every single day. And the salad bar. Do not forget the salad bar. How many kids in one dorm room? That's a very good question. So it would depend on how many students want to be in the dorms. We are a hybrid program. If 70% of the program wants to be online, and we only have 30% of the students that want to be in the dorms, if there's space to give every student their individual room, then we'll do it that way. If they are there's just capacity. It might be 2 to a room, probably a maximum of 3 to a room. There's a lot of space available at the summer program. It also depends. There will be empty rooms just to allocate for space if students are going to be there later in the program, but it's a fluid situation. We'll have a better picture of this once applications are submitted and we kind of get a lay of the land. What are people leaning towards? And it might vary by the week too. So it's a active situation, but should not be more than 3. And that's pretty much the standard. There are bunk beds in all the dorms. So that's kind of the situation. And yes, that is the presentation. 4:45, a 45-minute segment. Great. We're getting better every week. But thank you everyone for 15 years of support. We're very excited about SIP 2023. The application is now live. Great. We're making progress. We're getting there. The summer is right around the corner. So please apply today. We're back in person, hybrid, flexibility. You get to choose. So if you have any questions, now is the best time to ask. Please feel free to unmute, ask us directly, or we can continue in the chat. But thank you everyone for being here.
Anand, to start, I wanted to loop back to Court's first question.
Okay.
Just all the way at the very beginning.
Okay.
I can read it. That's
Yes.
helpful. So my son is interested in the astronomy and astrophysics projects. I see that 2 are listed as hybrid and 1 is 100% online and remote. The application asks him to commit on a week-by-week basis to being on campus or online. So he's available for either and would like to apply for both to be available for all astronomy projects. How should he fill out the application to reflect this?
Okay. Thank you for reposting that, Court. So essentially, Court's son wants to be on campus, right? That's the availability. Oh, you'd like to be available for either.
Sounds like for any and all astronomy projects. So how to complete it in such a way that it would open him up to being able to, yeah.
I would then, if you're planning on being there and available, then I would just click your availability for all projects. And a common thing is like, it doesn't have to match 100% perfectly. We will go back and forth. So if a mentor is available at certain times and a student's available at certain times, we'll find what works for each individual project and mentor. But this is just to get a understanding of what the student, when they can be there, what their availability is. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Next, easy. I have a class 9 to 11 a.m., 5:30. Oh, May to June. Can my schedule work if I apply online to the online program? Okay. Very good question. So essentially the program starts right around the time, academic research starts right around the time when your class is wrapping up. So I would still apply. The first 2 weeks are going to be fully remote. Those are asynchronous. So just communicate that you can't attend those live. Those are fully recorded. You can still catch up on the work. We require 6 out of 8 weeks. So just prior communication with your mentor, and we can work something. We'll do our best to accommodate your schedule and kind of have you come in maybe week 4, if in week 3, which is the first week of academic research, you are still finishing out your class, and then you'll be able to either your mentor will communicate what's going to be done and you can do that. You can catch up, be prepared, so you can jump right in on week 4. But the flexibility is there. Please, I would highly recommend that you still apply. Lakshmi, if my son cannot make it until June 15th and start on the 16th. Yes, the first 2 weeks are remote. They're asynchronous. Everything that will be done will be recorded. Emails will be sent between back and forth interns, mentors. So the flexibility is there. Please apply. Ritu, are all projects unique, or they might some projects done by 2 mentors? Most of the time, what each project is focusing on is completely unique. If there are 2 mentors, a primary and a co-mentor, then they're just helping each other out because it is a big undertaking. These are students that are doing research. They are students, they're not professionals. And to have 3 or more students, it is a big undertaking over the summer. So sometimes they do like to group up, have this done with another person just to help out on that load. But all projects should be different. And you can see that in the project descriptions as well. Julia, how many people applied last year? Divided by how many people do you expect to apply this year? We had 1,400 applications completed. We had 1,900 applications started last year. And then we got to that second essay, and then we saw the drop off. But 1,400 applications were submitted. We expect 2,000 applications. No one in our team has said the started or completed word yet, but our goal has been 400 students. That's the number we're aiming for. What are the essay questions that they're asked on their application? So the first two are talking about what specific subject area you're interested in and why. And then the longer, not too long, 500 words, the first two are 250, is what are you looking to get out of this program? Yes. Cool. So on the application saying 100% available to be on campus also covers the hybrid and 100% online research projects. Yes, essentially, so if you're on campus, you would be able to participate in a remote project as well. And this might be remote because the mentor might not be there, but there is support. You would be with everyone else in SIP, and it's just the options, like anything. It's very hard to, it's not black and white, right? It's a lot of different shades of gray. Cool. Okay. If a kid is interested in more than 2 subjects, great question. So there is an option to put down a third subject. You don't write a third essay just because we found 2 essays is better than 3 essays. So if you're interested in a third essay, if you're interested in a third subject area, please write that down. And if we are at that point where we're thinking of placing you in your third subject area project that you're interested in, we'll have that back and forth and we'll find out what works best for you there. Are the research results published? Are students' names included in the publication? This depends. So the research is happening now. It might get published. It might not get published for a while. And if published, if there was important work and something tangible that was accomplished and done, and that can be highlighted. There are no promises. We don't promise that. There have been cases in the past where that has happened, and it's been a great result for both the interns and the mentors, but that is not something that is not our goal, and that is not something that we promise to each student, but it is possible. So we hope for the best and work hard during the summer. Anything is possible. Ted, hey, welcome, Ted. For the hybrid program, 4 weeks in person, a minimum of 2 weeks virtual, is there a common schedule regardless of the research project? For example, first week, getting really familiar with the research project, do some research. Second week, to conduct. Ted, it depends on the mentors. Each project is different. That's the best thing about it. The mentors are the real superstars. The interns are the real superstars. The SIP staff, we just try to do our best to put everything together and match everyone. Extracurricular activities, having the program support, having them in the dorms, making sure everyone's safe, everyone's fed, everybody's doing well. That's what we do. But the research, that depends on the mentors. So for project, if someone's in an engineering project, it'll be more tuned toward what they would do as opposed to someone in anthropology or an art project. That's a conversation the intern would have with their mentors in the beginning of the project, in the beginning of the summer. Ritu, is there a rec letter format, short questions format, or the teachers write a single letter? Common rec letters, I'm sure there's a framework, 3 to 5 pages. That's what I've known to expect. If somebody has a different definition of a rec letter, but that's kind of, I think that's been the standard. Well, how about the acceptance rate of SIP? Acceptance rate. So last year we had 1,900 application starts, 1,400 applications submitted. We had 326 interns participate, and we made about 400 offers. So about a 32% application acceptance rate. Deepak, wouldn't biochem wet lab research require students to be on campus? all or most of the time? Very good question, Deepak. So yes, in the past, everybody was in person, right? Until 2020. So then 2020, we didn't have any lab research because it just wasn't possible. We had some more research-based, not based in the lab, bio projects last year, but we are very excited. And if they are offered, then you have to be here in person, right? So if you want to be here in person, you want to do a bio project or a chem project, then that would be the pretense under what that project is listed for. So we're very excited to have access to the facilities back on campus, though. Very good question. It's 4:55, everyone. Any additional questions? Here's your chance. And again, we will be having info sessions. Actually, we've had info sessions every single Wednesday in February. And this has kind of been like technically the last questionnaire, info and Q&A session, but we'll still continue to do these. In March, every Wednesday, we'll have application workshops. So if you have any questions, again, it's more of the same. Q&As, less presentations, because these are all recorded. These are on the YouTube channel. Please check those out. And more, hey, do you have a question? Let's get the answer now. And if you need help, we'll go through the application. We can fill it out together. That will happen next week, and that will happen every Wednesday until the end of March. Are most projects this year online? So what we found is if a mentor is going to be in person and they can offer their research online, they click that option to create to have a hybrid project. A lot of mentors might be on campus, but also their 3 interns are fully remote. So it's either like they are not on campus and it has to be fully remote, or there's some in between, or they're going to be fully in person and they want their interns to also be fully in person. But there's also that in between the last two. What kind of training do students get for lab safety? So this is something the mentor will take in stride, and essentially they are running the lab. There are strict rules that everyone that's in a lab follows, and they would personally make sure that the interns are following these. But also there's general guidance, and we would make sure that everyone's under the same knowledge, know-how. Yeah. Easy. If I apply for a project, but the admission officer thinks I would. Yes, we've done that in the past. So we do rounds of admissions, and a lot of students are applying to other programs as well. So if somebody gets into, let's say, a program at another university and they end up turning us down because they like the opportunity better, then let's say we have an opening in a chem project and your second subject is chem, and we think you'll be a really good fit and you've expressed that in your application, then we would make that connection and we would talk to you about it. And if you're willing to be in that chem project, we would make that happen. So we take into consideration both your subjects, and you have your third subject as well. David, for hybrid, do students decide which weeks they go to campus? Essentially, yes. If it aligns with their mentor, and it doesn't have to align perfectly, but if it aligns more than it doesn't align, yes, then that would be a great outcome. But again, we're trying this year to give students the option and mentors the option as well. So just a matter of putting those together. Julia, how common is it for people to do hybrid? I wouldn't want being online to take away too much from my research experience, but I don't know my availability yet. So that depends on a number of factors, right? If you live in the Bay, if you live close to UC Santa Cruz, if you can come and live with a family member, you have the option to change in real time, not in real time, but like up to a week in advance, right? Your availability, if you want to do some weeks in person, some weeks online. If you want to be in person, again, this is a great opportunity. We're very excited to be in person this year. If you want to be in person the entire time, have the dorm experience, learn what college is like, you can do that as a high school student. You can do research as a high school student. That's the best part of SIP. We highly recommend that you come in person. In person is the best. There is no delay. You will not be a little square. You get to be in the room. You get to be around your peers. You get to be around other people at UC Santa Cruz, the SIP staff. We strive to have all our speakers come in person, events happen in person. Again, we will try our best to make sure that that transfers in a hybrid and remote setting. But again, if it's happening in person and you have the ability to be here in person or want to be in person, please come in person. Yeah, Julia, just no stress on the availability. It is far out. It is still vague. And if you put something down now and it doesn't end up being like that, just communicate that with your mentor and we'll do our best to accommodate. When is the deadline? Yeah, thank you. When is the deadline to decide 5 days or 7 days dorm? Essentially, I think that happens during the application. But also just keep that conversation going. If anything changes, just let us know. And if there's enough time, we'll be able to switch. But I would imagine it's not too much of a switch. So let's say you've done 5 days, a couple of weeks, and the student really likes it or just wants to be in the dorms for a full 7 days or vice versa as well. We should have that flexibility to make that switch. Again, everyone, this is our first year of doing things. So we will learn by doing, but I don't see anything that would stop us. So hopefully we'll be able to make that transfer into reality. Everyone, it is 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it's a beautiful day if you live in the Bay Area. So, oh, David, last question. Yes, please feel free to email us. Let's keep this conversation ongoing. This is recorded. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch prior sessions on YouTube. We'll have another session next week. You can find the times on the website. David, if a project that is a student is assigned is 100% remote online, can a student still stay in the dorm on a hybrid basis? I would imagine this is yes. We haven't thought about this strategy. So if students are with mentors and they have someone to go to, but I get what you're saying. If a student wants to be there and the mentor is not there, it's not like we would say you cannot be on campus, but that is something we would accommodate, find. I mean, I'm just thinking as a college student, when you're not in class, you have options, right? You can go to a library, you can go to a cafe, you can go off campus. In SIP, they're minors, so we stay on campus, but we will find something for that scenario. But that's a very good question, David. And hopefully we have an answer to that relatively soon. And if we do, we'll put it in our FAQs. That's a very good question. That's something we have not thought about yet, but it's not to say that it's not possible. So they can still come. Stacy, do you try to have also everyone, if you have gotten your question answered and you want to get off the call, you can. But thank you everyone for being here. It was a pleasure to get to talk to you today. Stacy, do you try to have a certain distributions of incoming 9th, 10th, 11th graders? My daughter's a 14-year-old. It's very interested in science. I started advanced Python. Ooh. She sounds like the perfect candidate for SIP. The best part about SIP is, yes, in like the young years, there's a big difference between 14, 15, 16. But when they're together, they all are high school students and they can think the same. The gap to them is not as big as the gap to us. If your student is motivated, this is a choice that hopefully you and them would make. But this is not to say that SIP has certain projects for freshmen, certain projects for sophomores, certain projects for juniors or rising seniors. They're all intermingled. There are some projects that are slightly more advanced. So if you feel like your if your child is not ready and would maybe this is the first year SIP and they want to do SIP again, this would maybe pick a less intensive project, and you can see by the project description if there are certain things they're interested in, maybe what they're interested in. Also something that they might not have any prior experience in. This is a great opportunity to learn about new subjects and see if it's right for you. If you want to do computer engineering and maybe if you want to do electrical engineering and you find out that that doesn't work for you, then maybe you want to do computer engineering the next year. So it's a great way to try, dip your toes and see if if it sticks or if not. But yeah, please, there are more sophomores and juniors just because they kind of know about the program more, but we have had rising freshmen in the past, kids that are very adamant on getting started right away. And also freshmen, we've had a great freshman demographic, and they're always fun and a great energy that they bring to the program. But thank you. All right, everyone. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Lindsay, for being on the keyboard and great support on the chat. Thank you everyone for being here. Intern application is open. Please apply today. And if you have any questions, please email us. We're happy to continue the conversation.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording now.